Hey, it's Rich, the Louisiana hobby guy. And man, it's cold outside. It is 54 degrees. I got the heat on today. Whew, winter is coming early in Louisiana, let me tell you. But today I'm going to be repurposing a video from last year. And it's on creating Christmas ornaments. And it's advanced. It's going to take you into creating your own from something that maybe you've seen online without actually worrying about copyright because it is your own. So let's jump into that repurposed video from last year, and then after that I'll show you one of my own Christmas ornaments, and then I'll actually cut it out and show you the finished product. And this is going to be really quick and easy to do, so stay right there. We're getting started with a repurposed video today that you're going to enjoy. Alright, so let me show you how I got started. This is just the graphic that I got off of my forum that the user was looking to copy. The question was, how do I create something like this? I can't figure it out, or something like that. So this is what I've come up with over here. It's a very simple thing. It's, just using the line tool to draw. And what I've done here is I've taken this graphic, which you don't want to just copy and trace it because this is somebody else's graphic that they've drawn. So I've drawn my own. And what I did was I came over here to the pencil tool and I started over here and I drew over this one. Now I don't want to draw the same exact thing, so I'm just going to draw something that's similar proportions. So I'm just going to keep clicking on different points without being exactly the same. Something like that. And I think I only did 1, 2, 3, I believe. Well, we'll go ahead and do one more just for good measure. Something like that. And what I do is I only draw half. I've got half of it drawn, so I'm going to right click to get rid of the line tool. Come to the selector tool, select it. I'm going to drag it out like that. Now we've got the beginnings of our project here. So you see that this one looks almost exactly like this one, except with one extra branch, I guess you would call it, or whatever. And the only difference here now is this one's nice and smoothed out. We'll come over here and grab this one. We'll come over here to the left side toolbar to node edit, and there you can see all of the commands with the pop-up window. The ones we're going to use is S to smooth, M to insert a node, and that's pretty much all we need right here. We're going to come over here, pass our mouse in the middle here. We're going to press the M key to put one in the middle. Press the M key, M key, M key, M key. And I probably should have said to do it at the same time, M and then S, and we're just going to go back and do the S key now on all of those, like so. And now what we can do here is bring this in a little bit like that, bring this one in a little bit like that, and you see how we're getting our look. You see, just moving it down a little bit like that. And now we've got most of this already smoothed out. If I select it, you can see there's half of our tree. So at this point, all I would do is select it, press Control and the letter D to duplicate it, and now you see all of the little Vegas lights went away. It's duplicated. I can come up here to the top and mirror it like that. And now we have our mirrored selection that we can move over. And our Christmas tree is pretty close to done here, boys and girls. I mean, it's not exactly the same as that, but it's pretty close. And, again, this is starting from scratch. So if I come in here back to the node edit tool once again and zoom in on these corners, you'll see that I can just very simply click and drag on them and join them together. So that one is now joined. I'll come down here to the bottom and I'll drag these two together like that. If I don't like the way this is, I can move it around until I get it, exactly the way that I want it. And there we have our Christmas tree. And you see how simple that was? And then a lot of people say, okay, well, what about the star? And the star is a very simple, primitive shape. I will come over here on the left side and I will do the polygon. I'll click on that polygon tool. I'll hold shift so I get a perfect polygon like that. I'll come over here and select it. On the right side, I'll go to Shape Properties. If you don't see Shape Properties here on your tabs, or maybe down here, wherever it is on your screen, right-click on the title bar of any window and come down here and check it right here, Shape Properties, if you don't see it. If there's a check mark, it's visible. If there's not, it's not. We're going to change this sides to 5 so that we have a star. And then we're going to come up here and flip it so that the star is right side up. And at this point, again, we're going to come back to the pencil tool, because this is not really, even though it's a star, it's not a star. So we'll grab the pencil tool one more time. When it turns into a bullseye, we can click, and we're just going to bullseye every single corner that's in here just by clicking around to all of the different corners like this. Every time we see the bullseye, we're going to do that. When we hit the last bullseye, it'll automatically close. Now we can come in here and select that shape, drag it off, and what we're going to do now is offset it. If we offset it by 0 and not 1, see, the 1 would be kind of funky looking, so we're going to leave it at 0 and say OK, and we drag off the offset. We now have our perfect star, and we can get rid of those tools. And we can bring our star up here and then size it to fit. You get the idea. Quick and simple. That's how we went from having nothing, taking our pencil tool, and designing something very similar to this one here. Let's get rid of these two that we've just designed, because I already have two designed right here. And basically what we've got right now is we've got the bottom layer, the base layer. If I put this into fill, you can see that this is a filled layer here, and all we're going to do is cut out this one, and this will be a filled base layer. But we also need this second layer that goes right on top here. So what we're going to do is select this guy here. We're going to offset it, and we're going to offset it inward. You have outward, you have inward, you have both. You can actually do this either way. It makes no difference. Actually, outward probably looks a little better. So we'll do outward and then select the size over here. And I think that looks pretty good right there. And we're going to say OK. So now we have the outward part, which would be the base. And this one is the inward. So let's pull that outward off for now. Now let's work on the inside one. The inside one has to be 2 lines. So we're going to offset that one as well. But this one we're going to offset inward. And we're going to say OK. Now at this point, we're going to join these two by grouping them together up here. So we'll hit the group button, and we now have the inward and the outward. If we were to take the outside one here and bullseye it on top of that one, you'll see that we have a similar design as to what's right here. So let's get that outward one back off. There's our outward, there's our first layer, here's our second layer. I guess I'm saying this wrong. Might sound confusing. So first layer, second layer, and if we look at it, you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. This is the base layer, which will just be cut out of a piece of wood. This is the second layer, which goes on top, which would also be cut out on both sides. The only thing we have left to do is the star. The star is going to be stuck onto that base layer. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate by pressing Control and the letter D, because we want to leave that star there for this one. And we're going to move this one off over to here. Now I'm going to get it up pretty close to the top like that. And this is the tricky part, you'll see in a minute. So now you can see we have these two together. They have to overlap perfectly. So we have to make sure that they're perfectly overlapped. So I'm just going to move this by hand till they're perfectly overlapped. And now I can select both of these and weld them together over here on the left side. We'll hit weld like that. So there is our base right there. Now what we've got to do is take these two and figure out how much smaller we need to make that star. I'm going to bring this over here. We know that the star has to be a little bit smaller, So I'll select it, and then while holding control so that we scale proportionately from the middle, I'm just going to scale this down some like that. And now we have this. If we bring this over here, you'll see that it fits perfectly on top, and we have exactly what we need. So that's it. That's all there is to it. There is our piece right there. The only thing that we'd need to do now is add the name. Now this will be a separate cutout that will be glued separately there, and we will need to have that hole, which I didn't think of, right there in the middle for our string so that we can put it onto our Christmas tree, hang it from somewhere. So we're going to put these on top of each other like this, and then what I'm going to do temporarily is just group these so that they stay together. And I'm going to click off of it, and I'm going to grab a circle over here, the circle tool, and I'm just going to hold shift and draw a circle. I'm going to grab that circle, bring it right here into the middle, close to the middle as I can get. I'm going to duplicate it, control and the letter D. Now the duplicate is selected. What I'm going to do now is hold shift and select the outside one because it's one piece, and drag both of them off. And that's very important that we only select the outside one because this is two pieces here, which is now three pieces. So now we can group these together, move this off like that, and we can actually group all of these together. So if we were to take that, align it to this one with the bullseye, you can see that it's perfectly aligned and it'll cut out perfectly. And that's it. So all we have to do now is take both of these, put them onto a cut layer, which is in line mode, and we are ready to actually make this design. And of course the last thing is adding the text. And you know, the text part is easy. You're only going to do that on this layer right here because this is the top layer. Let's put this into fill. There we go. It's better to see it this way because the preview is a cutout. So there we go. This is how it will actually work. This will cut out all the way around the outside, so this will be a solid base piece, and this will cut out all around the outside and the inside, and this will be the piece that lays right on top. Now to go a step further, we could even take and put this one on top of here and come back into line mode. Now you see these are our two right here. This is our top piece. We could attach these so that it cuts out all the same to make it easier to work with. So we have to ungroup, come into this one here, come into node edit, zoom in, and what we'll do is take this one and bring it up to here. And that's basically all we're going to need to do. We're going to come in and attach, break this apart and attach these. So we'll select this one. We're going to pass over here. We're going to hit the key B to break it. Move these two off to either side like that. We'll come to this one. We'll hit the B key again. We'll take this one, attach it to this one, and we'll take this one and attach it to this one like that. So now we have our star. We can come back to our selector mode. We're going to select the inside, select one of these, drag it off, and now we have a single attached piece that's going to cut out perfectly. And the only thing we have left to do at this point is to go ahead and put this back together by grouping it like that. Now it's grouped, and we can go ahead and take our text. Let's just do Walter. So now we've got Walter, and we're going to look for a fancy font, something like that. We will take our name Walter, bring it over here, and go ahead and make it to size. Something like that. You can bring down your size there, and we're going to make this pretty much exactly like what you saw. All right, so now we can take these two and come up here to the Tools menu, to the Boolean Assistant, and find out which one it is that's going to give us what we're looking for, and that is the union. So say OK to that, And now we have our final product. You'll see it's attached here. It's attached here. It's exactly like the image that we started with. And we are ready now. If I put this back into fill so you see how it would come out. This is the base layer here, and this is the top layer, which is just the second layer. Actually, if I put this one, to give you even a better view, onto a blue instead, now you can see, and let me move the blue down so you can see it. Now you can see how perfect this is going to come out. Second layer on top. And of course, I left the hole over there. So we have to put both of these on the blue layer, and let's go ahead and group it so we don't do that again. And if I bring it over here and move that blue layer down, you can see there are two layers. That's how it will look, the final product. And voila, we have now got a copy. A little weird stuff here and there, but we wound up with the same exact Christmas tree. Are you still here? So we're done with last year's video, and I think that a lot of people will benefit from that. But let's talk about this year's video. So do you want to see, I guess, me doing it live, creating a couple of ornaments? I'll make 2 ornaments. I have a couple graphics that I've already done, and I'll turn those into Christmas ornaments now live and actually cut them out and show you the finished product, being that you're still here. I know a lot of my viewers like to stay till the end and see even more. So if you want to see more, let's go. All right, let's get started on my own Christmas ornaments. And I've taken a couple of graphics here, the deer with the mountains and the Christmas tree. And if you want to see how they're actually designed, that's how they're designed. You can see all the different lines in here. It's just shapes that are all put together, and I keep switching back and forth to see what it looks like. And the same thing with the tree. You can see the tree is all hand drawn, just shapes. That's all it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this in fill for right now because it just looks better. I'm going to create my Christmas ornaments now. I'm going to show you how quickly I can do this. So I want them to be about 3.5 inches. This says 3.8. I'll just draw a circle, hold shift, select it, set this top one to 3.5 inches, and you can change from millimeters to inches right here. So that's about 89 millimeters for those of you across the pond. And I'm going to put that on the red layer. So that is the beginning of my Christmas decoration. Now what I'll need to do is I'll also need to have a top part here that I can put a hook through. So I'm going to press Control and the letter D to duplicate that one, and now that automatically selects it. So I'll grab a corner, hold Control so that it sizes proportionately from the middle, and drag this down to about the size that I need. Then I can use my arrow key to bring it up to about where I want it to be. And I think right about there looks good. I'm going to do Control and the letter D one more time, duplicating it one more time, and then I'm going to bring this one down for the cutout. So now I've made 2. I've made this one to join with this one, and then this one to cut out the actual hole. And I'm just going to make sure that they're all directly in the center by selecting them all and coming up here and moving these on their vertical centers, just like that. I know that they were perfectly centered, but I'm going to do that just to be sure. So now I can select this one, and I want to weld it to this one. So I'll just hit the weld button over here. And now you can see if I just select both, we'll group them. We have our ornament. Now one thing I didn't do, I didn't cut out the inside. And I did this on purpose because I want to show you a neat little trick. If we grab another circle, hold down shift, you see how that turns into a bullseye? So if I hold shift, click right there and drag right to the other side, right there, turn into another bullseye, and let go. Now if I select it, I have an exact copy of what's there, as you can see. That's not exactly what I want, but I will go ahead and select that one, and I'll hold control and I'll make it to about the size that I want. So I think that looks pretty good right there. And now I can take my graphic. I'm going to grab this graphic. I'm going to bring it over here. Get it right about to the middle. About to the middle. I love when I say stuff like that. And let's get it to a spot where we know we can weld it. And I'm going to say that right about there looks pretty good. But as you can see down here, I can't weld these together. So what do I have to do? Let's go back into line mode, and I call line mode design mode. What I have to do is just get those horns right here at the top over that first line. I'm not worried about anything else here. And then I just need one or two more pieces to cross that line. So I will drag out this corner a little bit, and I'll drag out this corner just a little bit. All I want these pieces to do is come over so that they attach. And now I can even come into the deform tool. So if I go to tools and then down here to deform selection, now I can even move things around a little bit so that they actually cross the barrier. So I can move that one up and move this one down. And it doesn't really change the appearance, but it gives me that little overlap where I can join them. And then this one over here, I need to move slightly out like that, and then maybe this corner up a little bit like that. And now I've got 4 points joining to that circle. So I can select that. And now with that one selected, let me zoom out a little bit. I'm going to also select this inner one right here. I'm going to go to the Boolean Assistant. I'm going to go Tools, Boolean Assistant, and we're going to find out which one is the right one. And this is my favorite tool right here, and that's it right there. Subtract B from A. So we'll do that, say OK, come down to the bottom, put it on a cut path, and that is now ready to go. So to see what it's going to look like, there you go. So that's what it's going to look like right there. It's going to be attached there, 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 in all of these places, and it will be a beautiful ornament. To go a step further, maybe I want a second layer. So what I'll do is make sure that these are grouped, and I know that they are already. And then I will do Control and the letter D, and now I have my second layer. So there's my first ornament ready to run. This will all cut out. Now I need to do my second ornament, and if you don't mind, I'll just Control and the letter D on this one, bring it down here, and let me turn off this center cross because that's a pain in the butt. It makes it hard to see these things. There we go, that's better. So maybe, and you know, I'm thinking maybe I want this double-sided. So I'll use this as a centerpiece, and I will just duplicate this one. Or actually I don't have to, I can run this one twice. Yeah. So I'll just run this job twice. Let me group this all together so we don't make any mistakes here. I'll run this layer right here twice. Run this layer once, and now I'll have 3 different layers with the scene on both sides. Yeah, that's a great idea. That's what I'm going to do on that one. So now for this one, what are we going to do for this one? This one, I'm going to press Control and the letter D because I've already made that. Bring this down, and I'll do the same thing with this one. I'll run this one both sides. This one, all I'm going to do is engrave it. So I'll just put this one right there in the middle, Control, scale it down, and what I'm going to do on this one is I think I'll put some text, and we'll put Merry Christmas. And then we'll select that text, and we'll find a font that I think is going to look better for Christmas. So let's go to Cabin Sketch. That's one of my favorites. I could use the one that looks like it's frosted, like I did on my tea light, but I'm going to use Cabin Sketch on this one. And what I'll do is just go ahead with that selected, select this one, and I want to make sure that it's in the middle. Now it is. I'll probably do the same thing with this one. Align this one to this one, make sure that's in the middle, and it wasn't. So see, it was a good thing I checked on that. And maybe I'll just move this up a hair like that. And now I'll take my Christmas and scale it down using control just a little bit like that. And I will see the blue dot right here. I'm going to bend this. So we'll take and bend this up. Let's move it down. What I want to do is align the middle over here and then zoom in and take a look and see where it aligns perfectly. And that looks pretty good to me anyway. So we'll put that on the black layer. That's going to engrave. If we put this into fill now, there is our Christmas ornament. And you can do anything you want. In addition to that, we can do 2023 and take and just turn this one around, something like that. And I think that's good, just the way it is. So what I'll do is I will burn 2 of these and put them back to back, and I'll cut 2 of these, put one on the front side of this and one on the back side of this. What do you think? So I'm gonna set my cuts and layers, send this file over to the network, and I'll go next door and cut these out. Okay, so here I am. I've got a brand new piece of wood that we're going to put on the laser. And let me switch over to the laser real quick. I forgot I've still got this piece on here. I'll show this to you in a minute. Something I've been working on all week. Alright, so really quickly, I'll show you what I had on the laser that I completely forgot about. I have been working all week on a 5-layer Christmas design, and getting this to display properly is kind of hard because it's not ready yet, but here it is. And this is 5 layers that I've worked on all week. The stars are cut through because I'm going to put some sparkle paper in the back. You can see it's 5 layers there. And I'm going to be decorating this with my grandkids. So this is going to be a fun project for me and the grandkids. And actually I've got the bottom layer on wrong because there is a moon on the bottom layer. I put that on backwards. There we go. So there is the final design. This, I've already shared this with my patrons. This is a patron only file. So if you're a patron on the sustainer or champion level, you've already got that file. That file went up 1 minute ago, as a matter of fact, on Patreon. So without any further ado, let's jump into Lightburn. And I've imported the file from the network, and here you can see it. So I'm going to duplicate this one, Control and the letter D, move this off. I'll show you another trick too while we're talking tricks, which we weren't. If we select them all and come up here, we're going to align them like that. So that's something everybody knows how to do, right? But then if you come up here to Arrange and Distribute, now we can move them horizontally together. And that will be a perfect cut. In fact, it won't even cut this part right here. It'll only cut one and the other one will be ready. So now I've got that done. I'm going to put that up into the top left corner, which is where I work from, and I'm just going to move it out just a little bit. And now I've got front layer, back layer, and middle. On this one I only need 2 layers, so I will duplicate that. So now I've got my 2 layers. I'll do this. Actually, I'm not sure if I grouped these. I did not, so let me group these real quick. Now I can select both of them, do the same exact thing, arrange, distribute, move horizontally together, and now I can take and put these up in here, and if I group these and then group these, I can do the same thing that I just did by selecting all of them, distribute, except this time we'll move them vertically together, and that didn't really get close enough. Not quite sure why. Should have. Oh, I see why. Well, we could do this by hand. Get them up close together. And now, just to make sure, we need to see how wide these are, and that should be fine. So it's 10.5 inches. I've got a 12 by 12 piece of wood on there, and this will burn just fine. I've already set my cuts and layers. I set the cut really low at 730 millimeters per minute because of all of the fine little detail in here. I want to make sure that it all drops out. So the cut's at 730, 100% power. The engrave on this is at 24,250 and 90% power. I don't need to do any framing or anything like that because I am using the Lasermatic. So I will come back over here to the laser and we will start this job. And there we go. And it says 14 minutes. And that's all of the engraving and the cutting. And what I'll do here is I'll speed this up and then I'll slow it down when we get right at the very end. And I can show you the results. Alright, so somehow I lost my mic and I have to voice over this part. But we are at the last few seconds of the cut. And I just wanted to say once again, I lowered the speed by a couple of 100 millimeters down to 740 because of all of the fine little intricate cuts that are in there. And you got to be careful when you're taking this off the laser. You really don't want to damage all of those tiny little pieces that are in there. And I trying to be as careful as I can. I didn't damage anything. What I usually do is just slap it onto the bed. I'll bang it right straight down like that, and pieces will fall out. And you do it a couple of times and pieces will fall out, but you got to be really careful where they get stuck, not because they didn't cut through, but because they're stuck on another cut, like that one was right there. So I'll just tap on this and I'll go and get my X-Acto blade and just poke them out to make sure everything comes out without any problem. And here you can see I'm slapping them around again. So these came out really great. There's the backing for it, and when I put that on there, I think that is just a wonderful piece that anybody can be proud of right there. That is beautiful. All I'm going to do is change the color on the background, and that'll really stand out, and maybe I'll color the deer. And here is the double-sided Christmas tree, and all I have to do here is just put those two together, glue those together, and I've got my double-sided Christmas tree. So now I'm just going to go and poke out all of the little pieces. And actually, if I were to do this again, I would do the line after fill on this. So that's something that I missed that I should have done. It really would have stood out much nicer. Okay, are you still here? I'm glad that you're still here, and I guess some people want to see this start to finish. So here is my ornament straight off of the laser. I haven't done anything yet. I'm just going to take my X-Acto blade and just pop some of these out that didn't fall out. And this one is very complicated over here by the tree. That came right out. And that is 100% finished here. There's not any more parts to come out of this one. Let me see if I can show you this up close. You can see that looks really nice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint behind it, like the eyes and the mouth and stuff like that. I'll paint the back side a different color, and that'll really make this pop really nicely. So that's one. Here's the other one, and these are straight off the laser. Come on, camera. There it goes. So the little parts that are in here, you just have to be very careful with. And let's see what parts are. We've got one little one right there. Just poke that out. We've got these two right here. Poke that out. And this part in the tree, which has to come out perfectly even or else it'll get caught. There we go. And a little piece underneath the deer's belly right here. Pop that one out. And this little dot, tiny little dot right there. I can probably do that one better from the other side. Usually you'd want to do this from the other side. And it's smaller than my knife blade, but I got it. It's a tiny little dot. And I think that's it. You have to really examine these closely. Well, that's it for this video anyway, but there you can see this is a really intricate design, so you really want to take your time popping these little pieces out and make sure that you get it right. So now if I take my backer here and I put it on like that, and I grab my other one, put it on, put them all three together, I now have a double-sided Christmas ornament that's absolutely beautiful. And like I said, I'll paint the back of this to make the deer parts stand out. So there you go. That's beginning to end. And those are straight off the laser. No editing, no anything. You saw it firsthand. By the way, you guys like my hat that Patrick made for me? I think it came out awesome. I just had to mention that. That's a I'm not sure what it's called, but it engraves really super nice. So anyway, that's the whole video. Now I'll just get to finishing these and we'll be done. So I know that some of you watched all the way to the end. I want to thank you very much. And I'm gonna I'll probably make these designs available to my patrons as well. So yeah, I'll do a little modification to them and make them available to my patrons. I think what I'm going to do is on the let me go back to the computer real quick. I think on this one here, I'm going to redo this one, and instead of having it all cut out, I'm going to have all the pieces inside cut out, or cut out a couple more different pieces, and I'm going to offset it and weld the offset to the outside here and engrave all of this. So yeah, that's what I think I'm going to do, and that's gonna come out absolutely awesome. So anyway, thank you for staying with me today. I can't tell you how much I appreciate getting these watch hours from my favorite fans that stay to the end. So I hope you enjoyed this video today as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And as always, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.